Hello students, the lecture of today what we have about scientific management approach or scientific management theory. This theory was given by Frederick Winslow Taylor. He is a father and founder of scientific management approach. F.W. Taylor, to find out how he actually gave one of the most important theory in the history of industrial psychology. Taylor began his career in 1871 as an apprentice machinist and turner at the Cramp shipyard at USA. After 3 years, he joined Midwell Steel Works as a machine shop worker. Because of his hard work, he progressed rapidly to become machinist gang boss, after that foreman, and finally chief engineer in 1884. He served company till 1889. To satisfy his hunger for technical know, Taylor joined Stephen Institutes and obtained master's degree in engineering. Then he joined Valem Steel Company, where he served from 1898 to 1901. During his career as a machinist and foreman, Taylor can find out so many things like much disorder and wastage of human and other resources at the workplace. The workers did not produce more than 1/3 of a day's work. Workmen did not want the management to know about how much work they could do because they feared that their wages would be cut. Moreover, the management did not have any idea about the capacity of workers. And also, the management did not want to pay more to the workers for his job. Therefore, to solve these problems, Taylor came up with some solutions and made the following contributions. He developed the principle of breaking of task. Breaking of task is basically breaking the task into small elements for timing it. He explored the causes of inefficiency and labor difficulties in the industries. He developed time studies to recognize losses of efficiencies. He also evolved certain principles of investigating work on scientific basis, selecting the best worker for a task, and training him to further acquire the desired skills. Developing cooperative spirit between management and workers, or almost equal division of work between workers and management, etc. Taylor also developed a concept of fair day's task. He experimented on the fatigue incurred by workers and the time necessary to complete a job. Taylor suggested that for increasing the production rate, work of each person should be planned at least 1 day in advance, and he should be allotted a definite work to complete within a given time using a pre-explained method. Taylor developed functional organization in which one foreman was made in charge of each functions to be performed. He established work standards by time studies. He also introduced various costing systems, and he also proposed wage incentive schemes. It is also known as a differential piece rate system, which is focused on a base system on the basis of efficiency of workers. So, the scientific management theory is the substitution of the exact scientific investigation and knowledge for the old individual judgments or opinions in all matters relating to the work done in shops or industries. Taylor introduced scientific methods in decision making and replaced the rule of thumb or trial and error methods or a common beliefs. This was the major theme of his scientific management theory. He wanted science to be guiding force behind all the actions and decisions taken in an organization. Therefore, He not only propounded the theory but also laid down the principle to be followed to practice scientific management. In his book, The Principle of Scientific Management, Taylor enlists his four principles of scientific management. First principle, that is a science, not thumb rule. It is basically focused on old conversations and beliefs to be replaced by scientific investigations and analysis, or replace the rule of thumb method with methods based on scientific studies of the task. You can say that it is basically a standardization of work. Second principle gave by a Taylor, that is a harmony, not discard. According to Taylor, there must be harmony between workers and management, and prosperity of the organization should be their only objective. Workers must contribute to their vast level, and management should share the gains of the company with the workers. Thus, he calls for a mental revolution, that is, a complete change in outlook and attitude for each other. As earlier, management considered workers to be good for nothing, and workers felt that they were exploited, underpaid, overburdened, etc. So, this principle basically emphasized on harmony between management and workers. Next principle given by a Taylor is cooperation, not individualism. In this context, Taylor says the time is fast going for the great personal or individual achievements of any one man standing alone and without the help of those around him. And the time is coming when all great things will be done by the type of cooperation in which each man performs the function for which he is best suited. Each man preserves his own individuality and is supreme in his particular functions, and each man at the same time loses none of his originality and proper personal initiatives, and act is controlled by and must harmoniously with many other men. So, cooperate with workers to ensure that scientifically developed methods are being followed, which helps to maintain results like higher efficiency, higher productivity, and higher profitability, etc. Next principle discussed by Taylor, that is the development of each man to his greatest efficiency and prosperity. This is the result from the selection and training principle laid down by the Taylor. According to Taylor, both management and workers should aim at maximum output. He says that at each worker has been systematically trained to the highest state of efficiency, and management and workers cooperate, there will be higher output, which will lead to increased profit and lower production cost as a result of increased labor productivity. For the workers, it also means higher wages. So this principle, this will result in the development of each workers and result in efficiency and prosperity of the organization. Workers should be scientifically selected and focused on a right person for a right job. Providing a job or division of labor is on the basis of their knowledge and interest, which helps to increase the efficiency of the workforce. Taylor also suggested some techniques to follow the principles. First of all, he suggested a different techniques like functional foremanship, standardization of work, method studies, differential piece-based system. Now we can discuss the techniques of scientific management. First technique given by Taylor is a functional foremanship. Taylor developed this concept in order to apply specialization at supervisor level. Under this system, planning and execution are separated from each other, and the job of planning is entrusted to a specialized planning department. As a single supervisor cannot be expected to be an expert in all the aspect of work. Therefore, Taylor suggested different experts in different phases of the job. He advocated appointment of 8 foremen, which divided in two parts, two, two groups, 4 of them being responsible for planning the work and 4 concerned with the execution of work in industry. So the first group, which is involved in the planning, there is a instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost, and discipline clerk. Instruction card clerk, he lays down the instructions to the workers, describing the manner of doing the work. Route clerk, he gives the instructions about the way in which the work is to be done. He fixes the route of production, the route through which the raw material have to pass, and the sequence of the operations. Time and cost clerk, he determines the standard time for completion of work and set the timetable for doing various jobs and maintain record of the works. He also specifies material and labor cost in each operations. And last, discipliner, he enforces rules and regulation and maintain proper discipline among workers. He deals with the cases of conflicts and other and offers solutions of these conflicts among the workers. So first group is working for a production planning in charge, production planning in charge, and second group is working as an execution in charge, that is a production in charge. So in production in charge, there are 4 bosses: gang boss, repair boss, inspector, and speed boss. Gang boss, he has to keep the stage ready for work performance. He ensures that all materials are and things are available for the workers, machines are set, tools are in place, etc. Repair boss, he is responsible for the maintenance, renewal, and repair of the machines, such as cleaning the machines, oiling it, repairing, etc. Inspector, he checks the quality of work turned out by the workers and certify the standards of workmanship of each job. Thus, worker become quality conscious. And a speed boss, he looks after the time management, that is whether worker would attain his targets or not. He guides the workers as to how best they can do their jobs and determine the speed at which work is to be done for its completion in time. Next technique given by Taylor is a standardization of work. While doing any work, Taylor says that a scientific method must be found for doing that work, which should be more efficient and effective. And this should replace the old rule of thumb or traditional way of doing it. It has following advantages. First, improved methodology of production is developed, and it also set the standards which determine work performance of workers. Standardization refers to the process of setting standards for every operational or production activity related to a overall production, like raw material, like product, time, process activities, machine, etc. And simplifications aims unnecessary diversification of products, which results in saving of cost. Another technique which is given by a Taylor is method study. Method study is a technique, or it is a systematic investigation of the investigating existing methods of doing a job in order to develop an easy, efficient, and effective procedure for doing the same job at lower cost. The advantage of method studies is effective utilization of overall resources like man, material, and machines. It is also help to improve the working process and standardize procedures. This is generally achieved by eliminating unnecessary motions involved in a certain procedures or by changing the sequence of operations or the process itself. It provides efficient and faster material handling. It provides better quality. It reduces fatigue to workers. So method study basically simplify the overall methods which are used for a production process and which help to reduce the cost of production. There are so many techniques used in method studies like process chart, two-handed process chart or flow diagram, which can explain the overall process of the production. The main objective of method study is to minimize the cost of production and maximize the quality and satisfaction of the customer. It is also focused on the proper utilization of resources. After that, Taylor explained a next technique, that is a motion study. Motion study is basically a study of movement of a machine operator and his machine on the job. The purpose of motion study is to design an improved method which eliminate unnecessary motions and uses human efforts more productively. The principle of motion study is designed by Gilbert. He provided a different rules to be followed for use of human body or arrangement of the workplace and material handling or designs of tools and equipments. Like two hands should begin and end their motion at the same time, idle at the same time, momentum, smooth continuous motions, gravity feed bins, drop delivers, etc. In motion study, the main technique which is given by Gilbert is used to analyze the unnecessary or unpredictable motion is a Thablix. Thablix helps to identification of individual motions as well as the moments of delay in the process. It is designed to find out the unnecessary or inefficient motion and to utilize or eliminate even split seconds of wasted time. Every Thablix is represented by a symbols, a definite color with a word or to record the same. The list of Thablix has evolved over the year. Today it is a common to use 18 such elements. However, originally the Gilbert developed a system with 15. Next technique given by a Taylor is a time study. It is also known as a work measurement technique, which helps to identify the time required to complete a job by a qualified worker at a defined level of performance once the best way of doing a job is determined. The major objective of work measurement or time study is to determine a standard time required to do a job. It is also helps to compare alternative methods and develop a faster methods. It is help to compare the performance of the workers. It provide information on utilization of equipment. It helps in predicting exact delivery dates. It is also a basic technique which helps to prepare incentive schemes for workers. and the results in better employee-employer relationships and effective labor control. In the procedure of time studies, we can use a different types of methods like stopwatch method. It is a most probably used method in time study, according to which we can calculate a actual time and compare the standard time with the actual time to identify the performance of a workers. Taylor also gave a technique of fatigue study. It is the study to find out a method of doing work which causes minimum fatigue to workers so that they can maintain their operational efficiency. It determines both mental and physical fatigue caused by working conditions and monotonous job due to specialization. Fatigue study is in precise sense as a part of basically a motion study in which we can identify the unnecessary or unproductive motion which can increase the operational time as well as the cost of production also. In fatigue study, we can identify the time duration for workers, in which time they can have a rest intervals, frequency of rest interval, duration of rest interval, for regain their stamina and energy and work again with the same capacity and potential. The result of fatigue study is increased productivity. It seeks to determine the amount and frequency of rest interval in completing a task. After that, next technique we can discuss. This technique is a differential piece-based system. Taylor introduced this system to motivate workers to increase production. In this method of wage payment, two different rates were fixed for efficient and inefficient worker. Those who failed in attaining our standards were to be paid at a lower rate, and those exceeding the standard or just attaining the standard were to get a higher rate. This differential piece-based system first of all helps to identify or differentiate the efficient and inefficient worker, and it is also helps to motivate a worker to perform well or increase the output. It is a compensation system that differentiates those who are able to accomplish the fair day's work. This system is also help to increase the efficiency of inefficient workers, which are not taking their work seriously, not provided output properly or timely, their actual performance is worst. So differential piece-based system work as a motivated system for workers on the basis of compensation system. The scientific management theory is also criticized by so many other scientists. According to the psychological viewpoint, it is only focused on a workshop level. Mechanistic view, it focused only a conceptual. It is only focused on a conceptualities of worker, not an organization or management. It is believed to consider man as a merely cog in the machine. Under time study, work study, it only evaluates how technology can be utilized and rates efficiency on the basis of machine functioning. That too with a stopwatch, and expect that the worker would contribute in the same manner. According to Taylor, productivity of labor can be increased by increasing rate of incentives, and it has no limits. Virtually, it was proved in the Hawthorne experiment by Alton Mayo that though man gets motivation from money, but it works only up to a certain level, beyond which behavioral factors operate. This theory, scientific management theory, having a excessive control, functional foremanship concept, no doubt incorporate specialism in functioning, but violates the principle of unity of command. And according to Henry Fuel, if unity of command is jeopardized, authority would be undermined. Monotony, Taylor proposed specialization in jobs to increase productivity. He did not consider job enlargement for workers. This results in monotony and boredom, and workers felt bored sometime doing the same job, which resulted in decrease in efficiency. And workers complained of boredom because of a repetitive nature of their job. As scientific management increased harmony between workers and management, it weakened the trade unions, which was disliked by some workers. Workers believed that they were exploited as they produced much more than the percentage increase in wages which they received. So, after that, when the scientific management theory is criticized, next approach comes under vision, that is a human relation approach. This approach we can discuss in a next video. So thank you, students.